The following clip you're about to watch is a CCTV recording, and whatever you're expecting to see, this probably isn't it. Watch.
But wait, John, it's about to break on its own. It's gonna break on its own.
You have to watch it until it breaks. That's when I start crying.
Watch, John. Are you watching this thing? Yeah. It's not moving. Nobody. Oh, in there. No, watch. Watch, John. Watch.
That hurts so bad.
Nobody listens to me. There's ghosts in here. Nobody listens to me.
Watch it. Watch.
It's still moving! It's still moving, y'all! It's still moving! It's still moving!
Once in the air, you just was talking to freak out. It just moves. It's so good. It's coming out. It's so good.
My hand's shaking. I can't. Nobody listens to me. There's ghosts in this building, and nobody listens to me. I don't know if it's demons. I don't know if it's ghosts, but there is something in this building.
Because I'm telling you, like we've seen, 8 years, stuff just disappeared.
That pool cue begins to move on its own, not sliding, not rolling, but moving the way a marionette moves when someone is working the strings from above, deliberate and controlled. And then, as if that wasn't enough, it snaps, clean in two, by itself, with nothing and no one anywhere near it. You can hear the reaction of the people watching the footage back, screaming, disbelief, the kind of noise a room full of people makes when they all see something at the same time and none of them have a single word for it. And then one voice cuts through all of it, and what he says is perhaps the most unsettling part of the whole clip. Nobody listens to me, there's ghosts in this building, said like someone who has been trying to tell people something for a very long time and is only now being taken seriously. That detail reframes everything, because it means this wasn't the first strange thing to happen in that building. It was just the first thing strange enough that nobody could look away from it. Whatever had been dismissed, laughed off, or explained away before this moment, this was the thing that finally made the room go quiet. A pool cue doesn't bend and snap on its own. And somewhere in that building, something apparently decided it was tired of being ignored. But what do you think happened here? I'll leave you to be the judge. This next video was captured about 20 years ago by a man who lived in a flat that was built on the same ground where the old gallows once stood. From the moment he moved in, he'd had that constant, uncomfortable feeling of being watched, the kind that doesn't go away no matter how many lights you turn on. One night, he finally caught something on camera. Watch this.
Has it started again? Just stopped. Away again. Explain that. That's freaky. Is anybody there? Oh, f*** that.
This might look like an ordinary enough sight, except for one detail that changes everything. That lamp wasn't plugged in. There was no power going to it, no electrical current, no connection to anything, and yet there it was, switching on and off in an empty socket, like something was running through it that had nothing to do with electricity. He wasn't the only one who felt that way either. Other tenants in that building talked about hearing heavy footsteps pacing the corridors late at night when no one was there, and one neighbor claimed she'd woken up to find a shadowy figure standing by her window, the shape of a man, head tilted slightly forward like he had a noose around his neck. When he posted the footage, something unexpected happened. People who had lived in that same building years before started coming forward with their own stories, experiences they'd kept quiet for a long time because they didn't think anyone would believe them. This clip might look simple on the surface, but an unplugged lamp doesn't flicker. And the ground that building stands on has a history that doesn't stay buried as quietly as people would like. So, what exactly happened here? This next clip is just regular home security camera footage posted by Peach Assassin, or at least that's what it should have been before something very, very strange happened. Look closely at her hair.
Because my search is 6 and I won. I gave you 6 points, I'm deducting 7. This is ridiculous. Don't make me think about numbers again. A brave and accurate decision. Yes, I, Captain. Yes. Yeah, holy Captain, your horticulture is harvestable. Ah, good call, thank you. Hurry happily and Hank, he's hungry. Hollow hippo.
Something pulls it, not a subtle shift, not the kind of movement you'd blame on her turning her head, an actual pull. And there is nothing and no one there to account for it. Her dog is right beside her when it happens. And that detail matters because the dog's reaction is immediate. Startled, alert, looking around for something it clearly sensed but couldn't locate. And the dog is nowhere near her hair. Whatever caused that reaction, the dog felt it too, which takes the idea of a simple glitch or camera trick off the table fairly quickly. Animals don't startle at optical illusions. Hair being physically manipulated by an unseen presence is one of the more commonly reported forms of paranormal contact. And what makes those accounts so consistent is the specificity of it. Not a general feeling of being touched, but something deliberate, something that reaches for a particular part of a person as if trying to get their attention. This footage fits that description almost exactly. She wasn't looking for anything that day. She wasn't investigating. She wasn't recording for content. She was just at home with her dog going about her evening. And something decided that was the right moment to make itself known. So, what exactly happened here? A draft, a loose strand of hair, a trick of the camera, or something in that room that decided it had been patient enough? I'll leave you to be the judge of that. This next clip comes from Isaac Abram George, a paranormal content creator who lives alone. And on this particular day, he started hearing sounds coming from an empty room in his house. A room that belongs to no one. A room he refers to as Mr. Patterson's. Not wanting to go in, he did what made the most sense to him. Set his camera up in the hallway, pointing toward the room, and went to take a shower. Whatever was in there, he wanted the camera to see it. Focus on the room across the hall. the lights come on by themselves. And if you look closely, moving around inside that lit room, there's what appears to be the shadow of a person. Then the door opens on its own, the lights cycling on and off as it does, like something is moving through the space while he's standing under the shower, completely unaware. Now, before anyone suggests it could have been him, the same footage shows him walking into the bathroom, a completely separate room. And if that wasn't enough, you can actually hear him in the shower, singing, while all of this is happening across the hall. He is fully accounted for. Whatever turned those lights on, whatever is casting that shadow and pulling that door open, it isn't him. He lives alone. There is no Mr. Patterson. There is no one in that house who could have turned those lights on, and there is no one who should be casting a shadow on those walls. What's unsettling about this one isn't just what the camera caught, it's the name. Because you don't give a room a name unless something about it has made itself known to you. That kind of familiarity suggests this isn't the first conversation Isaac has had with whatever occupies that space. It's just the first time he got it on camera. So the real question isn't what was in that room. The real question is, how long has it been there? And does it know that Isaac can hear it too? This next clip comes from an office security camera at 3:17 in the morning when there was no one in the building.
Keep watching the chair. This was at 3:17 a.m. when the station was closed.
The chair moves just a little at first, like something is settling into it, and then significantly more, like whatever settled in decided to get comfortable. Now, the usual explanation for something like this would be airflow, a vent, a draft, something environmental that could shift a chair on a wheeled base. But everything else in that office stays completely still. The other chair, the furniture, nothing else in the frame reacts at all. A draft doesn't single out one chair and leave everything around it untouched. And whatever is moving that chair isn't interested in anything else in the room. There's a reason 3 a.m. carries the reputation it does in paranormal research. It comes up so consistently across so many different accounts and so many different cultures that investigators have given it its own name, the witching hour, the point in the night where the boundary between what we can and can't perceive is said to be at its thinnest. But as it turns out, that chair wasn't the only strange thing to happen in that building, because somewhere in the underground corridor of that same office, another recording captured something that made the chair look like the least of anyone's concerns. A man is walking through what looks like a basement passageway when something stops him in his tracks. Focus on the bottle on the floor.
Down here tonight. Like proper weird.
He hears a woman's voice telling him to stand there, but he keeps walking. And what happens next is where this clip stops being easy to dismiss, because whatever that voice belonged to didn't appreciate being ignored, and the bottle on the floor pays for it, sent flying with a force that has nothing gentle or accidental about it, and the man recording doesn't stick around to find out what comes after that. The voice itself is what unsettles people the most on first watch, not because it's loud or aggressive at first, but because it isn't. It starts as an instruction, almost calm, the kind of tone that assumes it will be listened to. It's only when it's ignored that everything shifts, and that escalation from quiet command to violent reaction suggests something with awareness behind it, something that expected to be obeyed. Paranormal researchers often describe this kind of encounter as a territorial presence, something that has claimed a space and doesn't take kindly to people passing through it uninvited. And underground spaces in particular tend to be exactly where that kind of energy concentrates. So whatever was sitting in that chair at 3:17 in the morning, it wasn't the only thing in that building. And judging by what happened in that corridor, it wasn't the friendliest either. What do you think is really happening in that building? I'll leave you to judge. This next clip was taken in an old, battered building that clearly didn't want to be disturbed. Keep your eyes on the old clock on the shelf.
M-a luat rău pe bune. Deci pe bune m-a luat rău, frate. Ia uite-le, l-a rotit tot. L-a rotit tot, frate, tu ești nebun la cap. Băi, ești nebun.
Băi, omule,
Poruncile tale n-am păzit, judecățile și dreptățile tale.
n-am mâncat așa. Na, mă.
Mamă, frate, mă, ești...
Na, mă, mânca mi-ați paranormalul să mi-l mâncați, mă, na.
Poruncile tale n-am păzit,
Na, mă.
judecățile și dreptățile tale le-am călcat.
Ia, ce s-a auzit? Fai de mine dacă nu ne... Ia, auzi.
Mi-am supus
Tătă casă, tătă casă, stai că-mi tremură mâna.
Vieții și casa toată necrosenia.
Să-l smulge, lasă-l smulgă.
The reaction in that room is immediate. Shouting, praying, two people who went from completely calm to absolutely terrified in the space of a second. That kind of reaction isn't performed. You can't fake the way a person's voice sounds when something they just watched with their own eyes has no explanation. Now, a clock moving on a shelf isn't impossible to explain on paper. Vibrations, an uneven surface, something knocking against the furniture from another room. But there's a reason those explanations feel hollow when you watch this clip, and it's because of the object itself. Clocks carry a particular weight in paranormal tradition across many different cultures. They've long been associated with the marking of significant moments, births, deaths, transitions, and there are countless accounts of clocks stopping, starting, or moving at moments that seem tied to something beyond the mechanical. An old clock especially, one that has sat in the same place long enough to become part of the background of a home, moving on its own, is the kind of thing that tends to mean something to the people who witness it. Both of them knew that. You can hear it in the way they reacted, not just scared, but reaching for something bigger than fear. But if you were standing in that room and that clock moved, what would you say you're dealing with? The following clip is about a family who for months have been waking up in the middle of the night to sounds they can't explain. And what makes it particularly unsettling isn't just the sounds themselves, it's the fact that they never repeat the same way twice, yet always carry the same feeling, the same heavy, aware presence, like whatever is inside that house knows exactly where they are and is in no particular hurry to make itself known. Some nights, it's footsteps, stopping directly beneath their bedroom and just staying there. Other nights, it's something different, something harder to place. But one night, they heard something that gave them their first real clue about what they might be dealing with. Outside, something was playing with their dog's toy, and when they went out to confront whatever was there, they found nothing. The comments pulled in a few different directions on this one. Some viewers felt that if this were paranormal, the dog toy was a significant detail, that it could point to the spirit of a child, drawn to something familiar, replaying an innocent moment from a life that ended too soon. Others weren't so comfortable with that interpretation, suggesting that certain entities are known to mimic harmless behavior deliberately, using something playful and non-threatening to create confusion rather than immediate fear. There are darker theories too, that some presences are drawn to the emotional reactions that objects connected to animals tend to provoke, that the attention and fear and curiosity that follows is exactly what keeps them close. The family had already tried saging the house by the time this clip was posted, a cleansing practice rooted in traditions across multiple cultures, intended to clear a space of unwanted energy and restore some kind of balance. It didn't work. The activity continued exactly as before, as though whatever is in that home acknowledged the effort and carried on regardless. That detail is perhaps the most unsettling thing about this whole case. Not the footsteps, not the toy, not even the sounds in the night, but the fact that they tried to make it leave and it simply didn't. It's still there, moving through their halls, interacting with their belongings, making itself known only when it feels like it. And for this family, every night is just another night of waiting to find out what it decides to do next. Until more updates are shared, this unsettling case remains a mystery.